Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, February 8th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Before I get to the watch list, I first just want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering later on in the week. So if you're liking what you see here and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can be used, how it should be used to build consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link right down in the description box that you can click on. Or if you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the page that you can click on to get signed up. So just keep that in mind. And if you're liking what you see, definitely get signed up for the free class. A couple of quick clarification points. First off, the market is still open for a little bit of time. So that price right there is still going to be changing, and the candlestick, as you're witnessing, is still moving. But I like to do these videos when the market's still open for a little bit of time because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price action. And then also, I will be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks, as they're called if you're new, represents 30 minutes worth of time. So first one here, ticker symbol PHUN, and quite the turnaround. I mean, things were looking great this afternoon. And then the latter part of the day showed up and a very big pullback. Now, this all depends on your strategy going in. So is this a bad situation? Is this a good situation? Well, I just don't know. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're a day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you bought up there and your plan was to buy and sell within 20 minutes, well, then from that perspective, the chart now looks really, really bad. Now, if you care about things from the big picture, I understand the price did pull back here quite a bit, but even if the price pulled back some more and let's say came down to that 280 mark, not saying it will, but if it came down to 280 and then started to level off, what would you have in this situation? Well, you'd have a set of lows right here. You'd have lows there. You'd have lows down there. And if you envision each one of those as stair steps, what do you have? Well, from the big picture, you'd still have stair steps progressing in the upwards direction. Again, emphasis on the big picture point of view. So like I said, is this a good chart? Is this a bad looking chart? Well, I don't know. For those people, depending on where you bought, that's going to dictate your, kind of perception of this chart. But there's no doubt about it, a very big late day pullback here, but that doesn't necessarily destroy the chart because the overall chart, as you see, still does have the opportunity to continue to build the uptrend. So we'll see what happens with it. Next one, PTON, had big actually news late day on Friday. So kind of a sneaky time for all that stuff to start to come out with all the buyout offers and that sort of stuff. And a very interesting now last 30 minutes, which as I talk, you can see this thing had been booming. And then all of a sudden, quite the turnaround. Now, once again, does that destroy the entire chart? It doesn't. Now, if you're a day trader and you bought right there and we're trying to play some late day breakout, then yes, the chart is now starting to look very, very shaky for you. If you're a day trader and you bought up there, the chart was already looking shaky. So like I said, that's where these videos are a little difficult because you can't quite call something bullish or bearish because I don't know what you as a viewer are actually looking at and what your strategy going in. But from an overarching standpoint, everything is still perfectly fine because just like, in fact, why don't I just do this? Bring up this support. If the price were to come down there at 28, then you hopefully get the idea of where I'm going to be headed with this. If it comes down there, behaves like that, well, then what do we have? Again, emphasis on the big picture. Well, like PHUN, we'd have a low set of lows there. We have lows down there. You picture those as stair steps, and you'd still have stair steps progressing in the upwards direction. So overall, big picture-wise, things are perfectly fine. Day trading wise, yeah, things are looking a little shaky here in the near term, but the key dynamic here is as long as this volume remains very, very strong, then there's going to be plenty of tradable opportunities with it. And given this is a watch list for traders, then like I said, this is one where I'd say at least keep it on your watch list, and we'll see what happens with it moving forward. And I should also map out one more area of resistance right here, which sits at $30.70. So if this thing does try to turn back around, keep a close eye on that mark. Next one, AMC, unfortunately, after the nice bounce that occurred on Friday, didn't make any sort of progress. In fact, the price has gone right back to where it was. And what was my definition of progress? Well, for those of you that watched that video, you should remember that this green line here did represent progress, but now that the price is down below it, that's just a classic example of a support now you'd expect to act as resistance, and that's what happened there. Nice bounce up, but right there got rejected by it. But like I said, from an overall standpoint, yeah, this bounce there, to give credit, was a very nice bounce, but it was a dead cat bounce. Why? Well, because like I said, literally the price has gone right back to where it was back here before the bounce even started. Now, the good news here is it's not like the price came back down and then just kept on breaking new lows. So what I am going to do is go ahead and adjust this level up to right there at 1460 because that does seem to be the very clear now near-term level of support. had buyer step up last week right there, and then earlier in the day had buyer step up. So 1460 is certainly going to be a very key level of support to watch. So keep an eye on that. And then again, if the price does try to bounce back up, that 1515-ish, 1520-ish mark will be a key level. But as of, that nice bounce that occurred on Friday, yeah, as far as that's concerned, that was just a dead cat bounce. Next one here, ticker symbol FB, Facebook, and just another train wreck of a day. Like AMC, had a very nice bounce, very respectable bounce right there on Friday. But then today came down to that area of support that I talked about last week, busted down through there. And then this is how bad it went. Came all the way down to that level of support, broke through there, tried to get back above it, and then got rejected. And as I speak right now, during this last 30 minutes, you can see the price is flirting with potentially even breaking down below these lows here. Moral of the story, not a good day for Facebook at all. And that bounce from Friday just completely wiped away. But moving forward now, as far as next potential, reversal point, and I shouldn't say reversal in the sense of everything goes back to normal, but reversal in the sense of, okay, from a trading standpoint, what could potentially make things, worthwhile to keep an eye on? And that would be this trend line right here. So let me be very clear. If the price comes up here and breaks through it, am I saying that break causes this thing to go up and close the gap and, be back up in $300 range? I'm not saying that. But from a trading standpoint, yeah, that could be a very interesting breakout level right there. So keep an eye on that trend line right there. And then as far as supports are concerned, really right now, I'm not even going to talk about any supports just because it's essentially, catching a falling knife. And in my opinion, with these situations, always good to wait for a little bit of confirmation. What would that confirmation be? Well, just to see the price at least level out and then show strength. And again, quote unquote, show strength being defined as breaking up above that trend line there. And this is a good example of why I love charts, because it's easy for me to sit here and say, well, let things show strength. What does that even mean? Those are just words, show strength. But with charts, with technical analysis, you can make those words, those phrases very visual. So again, my definition of show strength is to get up above that trend line right there. So keep an eye on that. But overall, yeah, Facebook is continuing to get obliterated, but you got to think that there might be some sort of worthwhile bounce coming again. But like I said, that trend line in my mind makes the most sense to keep an eye on. Next one, XELA, and this one has gotten so much more interesting just because of the fact that, which will kind of sound backwards, but because it got essentially rejected up there at 95 cents, which has happened many times before back here from last week. But then if I really extend the chart out, you'll see that this was also a problem point, both there and there. So I bring that up because this was essentially the fourth time it got rejected. So there's going to be just that many more eyeballs watching it moving forward. And while that doesn't guarantee anything, from a self-fulfilling prophecy point of view, it does make more than enough sense to think that if the price could work its way up to 95 and get a break up through there, that break could create additional buying pressure just because, people are watching and saying, hey, it's breaking out. Oh, I'm a breakout player. Oh, well, I should be buying right now because it's breaking out. So 95 cents, very, very intriguing level from that point of view of the self-fulfilling prophecy angle. And then as far as levels of support are concerned, in the very near term, you have this level right here that would ideally, you'd want to see the price hold above that purple line, the 50 paired moving average. But if that level is not able to hold, then the next level you'd have is down there at the 75 cent mark. But in my mind, the most intriguing dynamic here is all about 95 cents. So we'll see if the price can work its way back up there and potentially get the break of it. Next one, BKKT. Absolutely beautiful move today with a lot of stocks rolling back over, but this one held strong. You can see the good amount of volume down here. And yeah, there's just a bit of a pullback here, but overall, you got to like the overall momentum that this one has shown. And let me squeeze this down and bring up just a bit more context. You can see that it's starting to approach levels that haven't been seen for quite a while. So on that note, want to first just get mapped out what seems to be kind of that main overarching area of resistance, and that's going to be the 650 mark, which going through the history of things, you can see has presented quite a few problems. So that doesn't mean that it's impossible for the price to break through that level. But I would expect there to be quite a bit of a battle that occurs up there. But then going back to that whole idea of self-fulfilling prophecies, like we just talked about, you're going to have that dynamic there where if the price can get up there and can battle through there, then while that doesn't guarantee anything, it makes it more than plausible to think that a breakout right there could create quite a bit of upwards buying pressure. And then to zoom back in as far as levels of support are concerned, as far as supports and pullback areas, in my mind, the level that stands out the most is going to be right down there around $5.25. But no doubt about it, very impressive volume today. Nice price movement. So let's see if this momentum can continue moving forward. Next one, CFVI, and a disappointing late day move here as the price just really kind of collapsed quite a bit. But going back to the theme of, does that mean that it's a bad looking chart? Well, it depends. If you're a day trader and you're buying up around there and your goal is to buy and sell within 7 minutes, well then yeah, the chart looks terrible now. If you care about things from the bigger picture, or if you're somebody that likes to play pullbacks, well then you have your pullback. But even if you're already in and you care about things from the bigger picture point of view, well then when I draw these stair steps, clearly that's a stair step, there's a stair step, there's one there. I mean, the stair steps are still progressing in the upwards direction. So like I said, it's bullish for a couple groups of people, still bullish for those that care about the big picture, bullish for people that like to play pullbacks. But yeah, it would definitely obviously be very bearish for, day traders that, buy breakouts and they were trying to buy some sort of breakout right there. That would definitely have been a failed breakout. And I would assume that you'd already be stopped out. But yeah, I mean, if you're still in, then yeah, clearly the chart's not looking very good for you. But from a momentum, from a volume standpoint, it's here. But now the big question moving forward is this just a temporary pullback? And is this thing going to reverse back around and make another nice move? Or is this kind of the beginning of the end? That's why risk management matters. But at the core, there's no doubt about it. It's very volatile. It had a lot of volume. So let's see if that carries into Tuesday. Next one here, KAVL. Been tracking this one when it was still down below $1. Very nice move today overall, and I emphasize overall because, yeah, this last 30 minutes, what a nasty, nasty candle. I mean, this thing had broken out, was running, and then just like that, turned around and headed right back further. There are no guarantees, but when you see candles like this, in my mind, there's probably going to be a further pullback that comes about on Tuesday. So from that angle of things, very curious to see how the price behaves if it gets down to that $1.30 mark. So if you like to play pullbacks, $1.30 is a very interesting level. Again, not a guaranteed level, but a level that, based on the fact that it was a former area of resistance, which has now acted as support a couple of times. It's logical to think that if the price were to go down there, it could once again find some support before ultimately continuing on with the overall uptrend. And really that's kind of the main dynamic, the main approach I would use for this one, because it just seems so shaky right now after that last 30 minutes. So, I mean, I suppose if you want, you could try to play some sort of breakout there or breakout right there. But, like I said, with that last 30-minute candles, me personally, it's got me a little nervous. It's got me more so thinking of this from a pullback perspective. But hey, everybody's risk tolerance is different. Everybody's methodology is different. But that's kind of my thoughts on this one. But again, it goes back to the core point. If you like to play this sort of price range, this one's been getting some great volume. It's been getting some great, movement. So it's just a question of, does this continue moving forward? And we'll have to see. Next one here, DWAC. Now, when I decided to put this one on the watch list, it was not looking like this at all. But I figured, you know what? I'll still put it on the watch list because this last 30 minutes, wow, does that have this chart looking pretty ugly. But as I've said in many past videos, and for you longtime listeners, you've heard me say it, there can be opportunity in ugly. And if this thing can get a bit more ugly and come down to that pink line there, which on my chart denotes a very famous 200 period moving average, essentially valued at $76.50, then while, of course, there's not guaranteed to be a bounce, but is that a logical spot where, there's some buyers could show up and maybe you get some sort of tradable bounce? Absolutely. So if you like to play, these charts that are still in overall uptrend, so you got to give that too. I mean, this thing is still in a broad overall uptrend, but within the uptrend right now, yeah, this thing right here, what a nasty, nasty move. So it's got things looking a bit ugly, but if you like to play these ugly opportunity or ugly situations within overall uptrends, I'd get this one on your watch list. Next one, TSLA Tesla, and overall the levels that I talked about previously are still standing. I'm going to go ahead and actually get rid of that level, but the main dynamic to watch from a resistance standpoint is that it's definitely a double whammy. The first quote-unquote whammy is going to be that trend line, which was broken. So it was broken during that opening 30 minutes. You can see the big green candle right there. But as I talked about in the previous video, you got to be careful because just because that trend line's broken, not that far away, you have the 200 period moving average. And I mean, again, the power of charts, check it out. Sure, it broke that trend line. So there was, from a day trading standpoint, some scalpable opportunity. But from an overarching standpoint, came up there, that pink line there, and then just got smacked right back to the downside. So much so that, this trend line right there is right back to acting as resistance because the price did bounce, but once again got rejected by it right there. So moving forward, battleground number one is going to be that resistance trend line. But like I said, even if the price does break above there, you still got to be skeptical because you still have that overarching level, the 200 period right there. As far as levels of support are concerned, from the bigger picture point of view, 880 is going to be a level that you're going to want to watch. But from more of a near term level, that's pretty interesting in my mind, right there at that $900 mark. But yeah, overall, a pretty volatile day for Tesla, but we'll see if next week, or excuse me, not next week, but if over the next couple of days, the price can push up through these levels of resistance or not. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can be used, how it should be used, then get signed up for the free class. It'll be later on this week, Thursday, February 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And then as far as these watch list videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, do a couple things for me to help me out and communicate that to me. Hit the like button, leave a simple comment below. Say hi. Give me an emoji. Let me know what you traded today or what you're watching for tomorrow. But those two things go a long way in communicating to me that you enjoy the videos. So again, hit that like button, leave a simple comment down below. And again, if you like what you see here and you want to learn more about this tool, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Everybody take care. Have a good one.